have to say your dog on the roof is just so funny.
This is what I'm going to start talking about right now. Right,
Good.
hold on.
Let's
We're loud. We're
started.
loud. We're live. We're live on Facebook. We're live everywhere. So I'm going to talk about it. Let's just start talking because I want this conversation to flip in, just go anywhere.
Perfect.
The intention is just to get our whole thoughts, feelings, emotions, everything out. Just get it all out, Leigh.
Get it out there. Cool.
It's a whole different kind.
And how beneficial is that anyway? So it's divine.
I love it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to start. We're talking about last night. So last night, I did have a few G&Ts, I won't lie. So I'm sitting in my garden. I'll describe the situation that I was in because it is quite a comedy value. So I'm sitting in my garden. My neighbour from next door had popped over. Can't remember why now because I had a few G&Ts, as I said. But he came over and he was sitting in the garden. We were just sitting around the table. And my dog absolutely hates him for some reason. And when I say hates him, she wants to kill my neighbour. Like every time he comes into my garden, it's like, huh?
Does he know?
Oh God, yeah, he knows. It's like the world war has broken out between the dog and a person, right? I mean, I have no idea why she hates him so much, but she wants to kill, right? So every time he comes around, she's like, at him, okay? And we literally have to separate her, right? She wouldn't bite him or anything, but she's just telling him. And so we literally have to separate her, put her into the house, and shut the doors. That's what we did. So anyway, he comes over, he's sitting down, dog's going mental. We take her away, shut her in the house. I'm still drinking my G&T. Lovely, happy evening, right? The sun's going down. It's a beautiful day. You know, the hours just pass. They do, don't they? So next thing I know, well, it must have been about, I can't remember what time it was, maybe 9 o'clock at night, something like that. Michael goes, your dog's on the roof. I went, what? And I looked up and no word of a lie. I mean, I've got a bungalow.
It's on Facebook. Yeah. On the video.
Telling you what, right? My dog, I don't for the life of me know how she's done this, right? Because the only way she could have done it, well, it's either climbing a ladder, but I can't see that happen, or upstairs, right? She would have gone upstairs on the bed, jumped out of the back window, right, which is the front of the house, gone across, jumped like a massive jump onto the NLP roof, okay, this roof here, walked across here, jumped over this roof onto Ethan's side of the house, walked all the way down there, jumped onto the new extension roof, right, where the bed near my garden, and then jumped onto the other roof where she was. I'm not joking. The flipping dog is a roof jumper. So I'm like looking up, I'm thinking, hold on a minute, what else have I had? This is just gin.
Forget the G&Ts.
This is gin, right? So I'm looking at the flipping dog on the roof. I'm going, and she's like wagging her tail. And like Michael's sitting there, but she's like, ah, look at me. I'm sitting there going, my dog's on the roof. So anyway, she's like coming forward to the edge, trying to come down. I'm thinking, she can't come down, right? And then Ethan starts coming, and I'm going, Ethan, the dog's on the roof. And then he's like, oh, the dog's on the roof. And he starts crying because he's worried about Tiki in case she jumps.
Oh, shame.
So it is, honestly, you couldn't write the sitcom. You couldn't write it, the flipping dog on the roof. So Tiki's going around to the side. She's looking over. She's trying to get down. I'm like, no. So Costa, he's had a few as well. He had a few beers, as you do. No, Costa's my boyfriend. So he's in the house. Well, he's in the garden with us, right? So he's had a few. So he gets up the ladder onto the roof to go and get the dog.
And he got her down the ladder.
He didn't go down the ladder. He had to open the window and shove her into the bathroom, which is another big jump down. But at least she's in and she won't be jumping off a roof. So this is it.
Wow.
I know.
You filmed it. I mean, that would be amazing for like a movie or something.
Honestly, I love it because it's so random. I honestly, you just couldn't write the script. And I just thought that is the will to survive, the will to connect, right? I thought, because humans, animals, species, nature, connection is everything. And even though she wants to kill my neighbour, even though Tiki actually does want to flipping to the neighbour, she wanted to be with us more than what she wanted to attack.
Not a protection thing. Will she not try to protect you?
Well, this is the thing, because I don't know what she picks up from him, but animals have strange intuition, don't they? We were going to talk about intuition, but they have like a strange and powerful connection with humans, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
So when you're ill and your dog knows, or your animal knows, and it will come up and cuddle you and like just make you feel better, and like lick where you're cut, or just all the little things that they do, they just connect. So that power of connection, the power of life, the will to want to connect and be with us, she literally risked her own life without any forethought, jumping roofs to try and be with us.
Bizarre. It's absolutely amazing. It's just that you never saw it, managed to film the whole like process.
I know, but see, because I'd had a few drinks, I was just like, I was a little bit, what the hell's going on? I didn't know if I was seeing things, and I'm thinking, well, I can't be seeing things because Michael's the one that said that she's up on the roof, and she's clearly up on the roof, So yeah, it was all very random, and like, but it just did make me think, like that will to survive. We've all got that, haven't we?
Mm-hmm.
And that the last few days I've heard some really sad things as well about people not having the will to survive in this time.
Okay. Yeah.
So I actually did my motivational minute yesterday on that, because it's a really challenging time for so many people.
True. Mm.
And it is perspective, it's how you look at it. So it's a blank page. And yes, it's something that we don't know. It is the unknown, but it's how we look at the unknown and what we do to either, it's not the ending, it's new beginnings, isn't it?
Yeah. But also, what I think is quite interesting is that, the time when the whole COVID started and we all got locked down, at that time, we were told a limited period, certainly in South Africa, okay, for 3 weeks, there's complete lockdown, all businesses stopped, blah, blah, blah. And there was an element of, there was obviously the fear, but there was an element of resigning to 3 weeks and coping, and we went through different processes. I mean, I remember our first talks when we sort of started connecting through this. So, the highs, the lows, the ups, the downs, the goods, the bads, the change, the what's going to happen. And it was a very huge, big unknown. But as we watched the rest of the world unfolding, all these other crazy things going on, I think that little bits have opened up and other bits haven't. And I know that, and I assume that to a large degree, every government or every person is trying to make it as easy and as good as possible, or as effective as possible. But for example, here, they're going to be opening up a movie house where they'll have a few people in different sittings and they've got all their rules. But yet you can't have 2 people over to your house for a barbecue or something. So there's so much confusion. And I also feel, from my perspective anyway, is that there's like a lockdown fatigue going on. There's like absolute, I've had enough of it now. What do I do? Do I go with the flow? Do I not? And there's also, I mean, when you talk about sad things, and I don't want this to go to the sad, because I think
we won't. No, because we're going to focus on the good. But
I mean, some of our large corporates have, they were already struggling financially, but a massive, massive chain. It's got like a higher end clothing department. They've got a home department. They've got a lower income shop, kind of Primark-y type vibe. They've got quite a few. It's a big, massive group. And I mean, they're slowly like collapsing. 22,000 jobs were lost. So you can understand why there's becoming this fatigue and confusion. And we go back to the fear of the unknown, which is what we spoke about a while back, about what's positive about it. How can we make it positive? What can we do? How can we use the unknown as something? So I think also it's another route, I don't know, just what I'm talking, I didn't mean to, is how do you deal with the fatigue? How do you keep going? How do you maintain energy throughout this sort of fatiguey time?
Well, see, the thing is, for me, as I say, I really do try and focus on the good. My whole world is so different now. I mean, like, it's crazy. But this is a time where people can step up and create opportunities. And
Absolutely.
this is a time where people are thinking outside the box and
Absolutely.
doing things that, okay, we can't do the old way, the old life. And I have to say, how lucky are we that we lived so many years in a world with that freedom that we had,
Yep.
right? Because it's a gift. Like everything that we've lived and experienced our whole lives, that's all we've ever known. But it's so fast. It was so fast. And in the last 25 years, it's gone from quite a slow pace, zoomed to the point of
Yeah.
where this has happened. Like, and everything just went fast, fast lifestyles, fast food, fast way we live, fast thinking, just fast everything. And it's like everyone just had to just stop. And like we've all stopped. And I am forever grateful that I took every opportunity that I had in those years growing up, especially with Ethan, taking him where I took him. And, you know, I was lucky to have the
Yeah.
opportunity to do that. And I'm very grateful for that. But it is almost like everything has changed. My whole world has changed. Everybody else's world is changing. But out of that change, there are seeds that can be grown.
Absolutely.
Because change is growth. And I'm not scared. I'm not scared because fear is based on something that might happen in the future. The anxiety, it might happen. And that isn't what is happening. What is happening now is that I have now got an incredible group of people that I never knew before around me that I've connected with. You know, that's why to me, these talks, these chats,
Amazing. Amazing.
you
And
know,
it's been like-minded people, and we've hopefully helped other people outside, but we've been able to help one another maintain the strength, maintain the joy, maintain, on those days where it has been down. I mean, I remember some of the days when my office was going and all that kind of stuff.
yeah.
That's the big fear and stuff. But then having the support network of like-minded people to, to connect and to, it's brilliant. It's been all beautiful. And I mean, I'd never have connected. I'd never have known you, or, I mean, Jesus, a lovely, amazing, beautiful group of humans. Fantastic.
And do you know what? We're all going through. This is why, I mean, the group's just me and you today. Maybe Kate might be joining, but everyone's going through different things in their lives. And obviously lockdown is opening up. So people do have clients, and other things are happening in other people's lives that are having to be dealt with. And
well, this is it, because they can now, can't they? I mean, because people can get out and do the stuff that they've been needing to do, whereas normal time we would be here. Yes. So it's morphing into perhaps a smaller kind of conversational thing, which is also fine,
Well, this is it. It's almost, I like the connection between us on all different levels. I know Aaron's moving house, isn't he? Yeah. So like, there's, it's all different people, but like, this is beautiful because you get so much, I mean, I'm just happy to be. So yeah, the lockdown, positives for me, this change of life, it's not about the lockdown because it isn't about that. It's about dealing with what is the new normal. So we don't know what the new normal is yet. We don't know.
No, exactly. That's going to take time.
Exactly. But what we do know is what we have right now. And if there's a little voice in your head telling you that maybe you should go that direction, then we are able to listen to that voice and choose. That with the gigs and stuff, there's a lot of people struggling, but I'm grateful because now they're doing drive-in gigs. They're doing drive-in gigs. Who would have even thought of that? I used to love it, like Grease, watching Grease on telly, the drive-in movie.
Yes, exactly. That's the first thing I thought of when you mentioned it.
And it's like, but okay, so people will be in their cars. I get that, but with that, you're still going to get the atmosphere. You're still going to get the lights. You're still going to get the music. You're still going to get the energy that's going to be radiating throughout everyone, and the beeping of the horns. I can visualize it, and the lights and everything. And I'm lucky enough to have now got 2 gigs in because one in July and one in August because of these drive-in gigs. And I never had that a week ago, but I'm open to what is coming.
That's it. And that's it. It's being open and letting those they're like little, we were going to be talking about intuition, which I'm assuming we might talk about
we
next
can
week.
talk about,
But the intuitive side of things, I think, is amazing. Like what you're talking about now is listening to that, listening to the gut feeling. You know, one day when I spoke about the brain and the heart and the gut, the head, brain, gut, brain.
Yes.
Intellectual. And I think that's where it is when you hear these things, when little things keep coming in at you, then you suddenly start realizing, hold on, maybe there's another way that I can do what I'm doing. Maybe, and this is where I think people are coming up with these amazing, beautiful, creative ideas. How divine that you go to a drive-in. I mean, with restaurants, you know, they're sort of talking about allowing them, but how cool. Obviously, you wouldn't be able to have alcohol, but you could have a little drive-in again where you go like the old diners that they have in the American movies. You know, they come and they put the trays on them and they come up on the set like in the movies. Surely there's options like that, you know.
See, Leigh, you've just hit on something there. You've hit on something really, really, really important there, because anyone watching, if you are in the food industry and you are struggling maybe a bit, maybe have a little think about what Leigh's just said, because that is a blooming brilliant idea. That is.
I think it'd be fun.
Taking it back, isn't it? It's taking it back to was it the 70s? Is it the 70s, 60s?
It might have been 60s, 60s, maybe 70s a bit too. But I think
like
when you look at the movies like Grease and stuff like that, that's sort of what I think about. I can picture one movie where they were on roller skates or something. That's all I can think of.
That's such a beautiful idea.
Then you go with your family, you're out for supper, there's a vibe, there's an atmosphere, there's something going on.
Music's playing and everyone. See, there's so many opportunities. It's just thinking alternatively outside the box, looking in at the situation. What can I do right now? What can I do that I'm using what my gift is, what my heart is saying to me to do, what my voice is telling me to do inside my head? How can I use that in a way that I can help and connect with as many people as I can?
That goes back to the questions that we ask ourselves. Yeah. Because I think I've been working with somebody recently. In fact, I just sent her a thing yesterday that she must now fill out for me. And it's, we ask such silly questions. Well, it's default. It comes from like our model of the world and how we brought up and, our environments and things like that, where we're asking questions that are not productive. And it's a subconscious question that we filter the information through. So, why have I lost my job? Why did I lose my office? Why did I whatever? What is your brain going to answer? It's going to say, well, because you did. I don't know. There's no positive. There's nothing strong. Whereas if we start asking questions like, how can I create an even more, or how can I create something? And you're starting off with how can I create massive abundance in my life? Even more than I already am, because then you're assuming that you're already creating abundance. Yes, it might at this stage be personal abundance, family abundance, lifetime abundance, staying whatever. And when you can start actually really realizing that is incredible abundance, it's beautiful, it's stunning to have that. How can I create more? But by saying even more, or how can I continue to create massive abundance and bring even more joy into the lives of people around me? Then maybe you shift. Maybe you, like I was sharing with you a bit earlier before we started, it looks like I may shift my career back to, going around in full circle from where I sort of started my career. But because I have what I have now, and because I have the coaching and the NLP and the hypnotherapy and the, all those sort of things that I've done, I can then work with clients on a different level. So I'll still be doing what I'm doing. I'll still be healing. I'll still be working, but in a different job space, as opposed to being the one-on-one therapist space. It's
a different,
And again, that's looking, hey, look at Kate.
Kate's coming. Also, you've just said something there as well, because actually people talk to their hairdressers all the time. Exactly. And you will actually meet a whole new variety of people that need to talk. That is a client base right there. By doing that, you'll probably end up doing what you're doing right now.
Exactly, and just doing it from a sort of a different format. And possibly having the space then that I talk to people and if they're interested. So it's a matter of reinventing. How's it, Kate? Sorry.
Hi, Kate. Sorry, we're just right in there. We're just flipping, chatting about life. We're chatting about everything. Have you seen any of it? How was your morning, by the way? Oh, I can't hear you.
Can't hear you.
Can't hear you.
There I am. Yeah.
There you are.
There I am. Hello.
Morning, gorgeous girl. Oh, I love you. How was your morning?
Yeah, hectic, but yeah, done.
Smashed it.
Been wearing a mask all morning. It's doing my head in, so it's just
Oh.
nice to take it off.
Oh, bless you. Yeah, that's what's that's what's bothering me, actually. I've got a gig booked in for next June, all being well, who knows, to Canada, right? So
Yes,
I've got to
you
fly
did,
to
yeah.
Canada, right? Flying to
Wow.
Canada on the Friday, I think, doing Saturday and Sunday gig or whatever it is, and then coming back on the Monday. That's 7 hours on a flight. 7 hours of wearing a mask, potentially. That is not sounding like fun to me, but I'm grateful. I'm very grateful, but like, my goodness, I hate things covering my face.
Mm. Well, it's hard, but it's
Yes, it has to be
what
done.
you do. It's like you're protecting others. Because I actually sneezed today. I thought, oh, I sneezed. I thought people were going to be looking at me thinking I've got some sort of horrible lurg, but I was fine. But,
bless you.
But you never know, do you? I don't know. I may be carrying it, and maybe the symptoms don't come out for another week or two. So
God forbid.
Who knows?
God forbid.
So I'm just sort of.
You're all right. You're gorgeous.
Spread it around,
and you know what? It's the right thing to do. I think that's so important now is to just be mindful of yourself and mindful of others too, and do the right thing, because there's such it's the best you can possibly do. Really.
That's it. And people are living in actually a constant state of fear at the moment. There are a lot of people like that. So if you can do something to help relieve their fear and anxiety by doing something little, well, it's not really little, but doing something like that, then you're helping others.
Indeed, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I know who knows what's right. Who knows what's for the best, but
no.
To me, it makes sense that I know my eyes are still unprotected, so if there's a virus about, it'll get into my eyes, and that's it anyway. So
and your ears.
Well, yeah, whatever, or it's on my hands, and who knows what you're touching. But I think generally, if you're outside, then keeping your distance makes sense, and also if you're in a crowded place, then maybe a mask does help. I don't know. Who knows?
I don't know what's going on.
It'd be easier if you could see this thing, wouldn't it? If you could see it, you could avoid it. But
that's the thing. It is the invisible.
I mean, that mask doesn't do anything. It doesn't. I mean, I smell everything. I go past the toiletries aisle. I smell the perfume. So if I smell the perfume, then viruses are getting in easily. But it's got to give you some form of protection against if someone's coughed or sneezed. That's all.
Well, I think it's for your own. Like if you cough or sneeze, so it doesn't spray.
Well, there's that too. Yeah.
I think that's what it is. So that if you're around others, then your germs won't go out. I don't think it's going to stop anyone else's getting in.
But then everyone has to be wearing them for that to work, doesn't it? Which they're not.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's when I first went out shopping, I felt odd if I didn't wear a mask, and now I'm feeling a little bit odd if I do. So there's a lot of people not now.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it's like the beaches.
We have to, wherever you go, you have to, if you're outside, you have to wear one. Obviously, if people are running and stuff, you often see them put their mask on because they're far enough or they're cycling, whatever. But theoretically, you have to. You can't go into the shops or anywhere without masks.
Yeah, because not now.
Anyone that was watching, Leigh's in South Africa and Kate's in France, and I'm in the UK. So it's eclectic.
Fine, I love it.
We're getting a world view here right now. Look how lucky you are.
Yeah.
Watching us, you see. You see, chats on a Friday. Okay, honestly, you'll have to watch our chat from the beginning, because I was talking about Tiki getting on the blooming roof last night, like a nutter that she is. My dog got on the roof. You'll have to watch it. Don't ask me. Flew.
Okay.
Just have a look on Facebook at the pictures, Kate. It's divine. Looks like a wolf. I can just imagine like Little Red Riding Hood and the wolf. So actually, that's your new nickname. I forgot. Where's your red today?
Oh, flipping love you. But we were talking just now about different things, like doing jobs. Like everything's changed. Reality, as we know it, has actually just completely changed. Well, as I know it anyway, and many other people. So it's listening. What can we do now? What will spark our excitement? What will ignite our talents? And what road can we go down so that we can use what we're given as gifts to help others in the best possible way, and in the same way by doing that, you know, you're helping create a new work, new job, new goals, new everything,
and
so that
new
you can
yourself.
survive.
It's like reinventing ourselves in certain ways that we have to. And you know, Danielle was also just saying, Kate, that, you know, the gigs that she's doing coming up are going to be driving gigs.
I've got 2 gigs in there.
What are these awesome new like ideas and things that we can do to fight the fatigue, the ongoing sort of, or I don't know, that sort of the COVID fatigue now, because people are getting over it. It's going on for long, and you know, the longer it goes on, often people are already going down they're snowballing in the wrong direction. So how do we start going back up the hill with some positive momentum on where we can go and what we can do, and reinventing what we do, and accepting change, accepting that, you know, things don't necessarily stay the way that they always were. So chip in some time and add some.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I mean, I love change. I absolutely love it. I hate it when things stay the same. So for me, it's like, yeah, change. So, and I understand a lot of people are in a difficult situation like me in my business. It's become, you know, I'm having to do online only, and that's all my face-to-face clients really have pretty much dried up. And so, yeah, reinventing myself and how I'm spreading my message online now. And I think it's realizing that everything's changing all the time. There's no such thing as sex thing. I think the weird things are when they stay the same. That's weird, because it is everything changes. We're changing, our bodies are changing. And it's the stuff that stays the same, I think, is where you've got to look and say, well, what's going on with that? Because there's something stuck there. Because otherwise change has to change. Like even pain in the body, that has to change in some way. If it doesn't, then why is that not changing?
Exactly.
And to me, I see life as like a bit of a spiral. So you're either looking up the spiral and working up it, or you're looking down and you're sliding down. It's easy to slide down, isn't it? It's like a helter-skelter. That's easy, simple. You slide down, but at the bottom, you know, it's like a never-ending spiral, so it just looks a bit dark down there, and it's a bit scary, and it's not very pleasant, but it's simple and easy. And I think most people take that easy route, and they just slip down. Whereas going up, it's brighter up there, but it's harder. It takes a step. You're going uphill now, and so as you were saying, Leigh, it's you're going uphill. You've got to make a bit more effort if you want change to happen in the way you want it to happen. So it's like, change always happening. So do you decide what change happens, or are you just going to go with this flow and go down the helter-skelter and just slip your way through life and not really actually do anything that was meaningful to you? Are you just living someone else's life? And
the thing is, when people are going down that helter-skelter, it's sometimes because they can't find the way to go back up, and it's knowing how to find that way to be able to take those steps to go back up. And if you're coming from a place of present, and you literally get rid of that noise around you that you can't, there's no such thing as can't, because can't is can with a T, right? So get rid of the can'ts and focus on the cans, because if you've got a body and you can move in any way at all, then there's possibility in any direction, and whatever varying degree of health you are, there's always possibility. There's always something you are someone that someone will always look up to. So the person that you're looking up to, you can be that person too. And it's just a question of what makes me come alive, what makes me tick. Okay, this does. Okay, so what can I offer other people to help them to tick too? You know, it's like, and then listening to that voice. And as you say, Leigh, there's so many different areas, like with the hairdressing and stuff. People sit there and they talk to their hairdressers for hours. They are therapists. A lot of hairdressers hear everything, right? And just by kickstarting that, doing that, because everyone needs a blooming hairdresser at the moment, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they really do. Yeah, but Kate, look how you look so cute. You're like a pixie.
It's gone curly, but I love it.
You're so beautiful.
I like my lockdown look. Yeah,
see, I do too. You look like a Cool, baby. But yeah, so if you...
It also goes back to what we were saying just before Kate came on about the questions. It's about if something makes you tick, or when you listen to your intuition and these little ideas come into your head, then you need to start looking at the questions. Because if for me, it was like 3 or 4 things all happened in a row, and I suddenly thought, hold on, let's go and research. So Kate, I'm looking at sort of going full circle to where I kind of started when I finished university. I went and did, I studied hairdressing. So that I had it as something to fall back on. And so I had it to when I spent 7 years traveling the world, and I just used to cut hair and then go to the next backpackers and cut hair and go to the next backpackers. So I'm now looking at the option of going into something like that where there's repeat business, because very often with hypnotherapy, people come to me to stop smoking. I see them 2-3 times and then they're gone, you know, and so it's continually new clients. And and I'm just, this sort of little thing has been coming in, this sort of like little soundworm, intuition bite, whatever it is. And I'm getting excited about it. And the more I do, the more I research, the more I look. But then the money question comes on. How will we do a salon? And as long as
you do a salon, can't you go from house to house? The mobile hairdresser.
Yeah, so there's all options. But the thing is, it's what questions am I allowing? Am I allowing the ones that say, oh no, it's just too big, or maybe whatever, or am I saying, how can I create this? How can I make this even more special than I thought it could be? How can I? So it's asking our brains questions that are intelligent, or questions that are positive and take us into ways, you know, and again, it's using the language. It's this whole NLP thing about, you know, how can I make this even more better than I ever thought it could possibly be? How can I bring more joy to people? How can I use my coaching, my hypnotherapy, my NLP while working with people's hair? How can I, you know, create change in
Hypno haircuts? I love it.
Hypno hair, yes.
Hypno hair. But I mean, you know, basically it's about asking the questions, and because I can do it, you know what I mean? Somehow or another, the money and everything comes along anyway. It does. I don't know right now, but it does. It just does. But when we believe it, and I think even old, what's his name? Benjamin, who hasn't been on here for a while.
Yeah,
he
Benjamin.
Something on his page this morning that sort of said, you know, see it and then you'll believe it. Do it. And I mean, that's a common phrase. We know it. And for me, it was such a nice little snap into like, don't let any worrying worms come into your head. Let the positive questions flow. Because it can happen.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's like Danielle said, it's about awareness. So there's knowing that you're looking the wrong way on the spiral, maybe, and just being aware of that, and then saying, okay, well, how do I flip it over? Because we're talking just a flip, aren't we? It's just a mind flip. So how do I look at this in a better way that's more supportive of what I really want to do and what feels right? Because again, you know, like I'd like to go into the body and say, okay, well, what feels right? You know, not what my mind's saying and telling me all these voices that are saying, oh, you can't do that, or it's not going to work, or you know, you haven't got the money, or whatever it might be. Just saying, well, what feels right? And then that's the feeling you follow that feeling, and wherever that path takes you. And that to me has always led me really well. I mean, and I kind of ignore the lies that are going on up here.
Yeah. It's that gut feeling. It goes back to the intuition, because I sort of had that so much in my head beforehand. Yeah. But I think when it is a gut feeling, and when it is that intuition and that knowledge inside, there's a little excitement that sparks with it. Yeah. But then when we're trying to make something happen, then very often we're met with a lot more resistance.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, it does. And they say you've got to have the passion. You know, your why has to be strong. If you find your why, then the how comes. But just find the why. What is it that's going to keep you going? Because it's going to be a hard journey. All change is. You're going uphill. So it's, what is the why for you? What is that feeling? And why do you want to do it? And once you get that big enough, then that keeps you going through the hard times. You have to have that strong. Forget the how. It's always about the why. Like they say, forget the how. It's the wow. Find the wow.
It's
I love that.
Called, your why power. That's Anthony Robbins used to talk about that. Forget the willpower. Get the why power going. But he also spoke about the leverage as well. Like, what is, you know, you need something so strong to get the leverage going, because if you've only got, you know, if you've got a scale and there's just this silly little sort of tip, it's not. But when you want it so badly that, you know, then you start tipping in the right direction.
And sorry. No, sorry, Leigh. But I was just saying, and you can learn anything too. Like I've learned Final Cut Pro, and I'm a technophobe. Generally, I am. I don't like saying that. I previously, in my last life, was a technophobe, but now, look at me go. Yeah, so like the world of possibilities, courses that you can do. You can do cheap courses as well to learn the basics. YouTube, it's free if you can sit there and
YouTube is amazing.
Yep.
It is absolutely incredible because, I mean, instead of, not knowing what to do with my time, I've sat and watched all kinds of things that sort of didn't exist when I first studied. So it's been, but stuff that's actually going to get me going somewhere.
Yeah.
The Abraham Hicks and the positive things and the, haircuts, whatever.
I'm so pleased for you, Leigh. Honestly, I'm so glad because I think that's magic what you've come up with.
Yeah, I have such a good sort of vibe about it.
So do I. It feels right.
Like a full circle. I'm thinking of full circle hair design.
Honestly, I can see you doing that, the hair, and then people knowing that you're a hypnotherapist stuff. You're going to get so much work from that anyway. You're going to get work from doing that. It'll be almost like an advertising medium for you to go out there doing what you're doing and loving what you're doing, but also going to get the other part of you will be fulfilled because it's all part of you.
But it's also the creativity. I think, I love the creativity of creating color, of art, of whatever. Yeah. So being able to do that, and also it's very much more measurable, I think, like I can help without feeling, I'm still getting paid for the service that I'm doing, but I can help without feeling guilty if the person doesn't have money and they're not charging them and all that. I don't have to deal with, which in a way, I think it's quite nice because right now it's, always it's something that I kind of feel I want to help people, but I don't want to break anybody's bank.
And you're making people feel great, aren't you? Still.
Well, and that's the aim. I mean, the reason I think I got into it and I really moved forward was because I wanted to make a difference. Just be able to help people help themselves. Because I mean, I think we can never really do the help. It's the people. They help themselves, don't they? I mean,
of course they do.
We assist them to help themselves. And I think if I can carry on doing that and let people see, like, they don't need to know where it comes from. They don't even need to know if we spoke and there was a bit of NLP thrown in. I mean, it's not manipulation. It's just if I can talk to somebody and help, yay.
Of course, suggestion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Oh, I think, and also people need that someone to talk to. Some people just don't have that in their lives, and that is why they do talk to their hairdressers, because it's their only constant returning person that is outside of their bubble, outside of their circle that they can talk to sometimes.
That's true.
So
and you need
trust.
That.
Yeah, I think that's brilliant. And I was going to say as well, how will we know when it's all over? That was a question I had. How will we know when it's all over? Because everything's being opened up over here, technically, but it's not. The entertainment industry is still in bits. Bless everybody in our industry. But how will we know when it's all over? And will it ever really be over?
I think it's a new thing that's in our lives. I mean, I don't think, it's not like, I can't imagine that COVID's suddenly just going to be eradicated and never appear again. I think it'll be different more than over. I think there's just a shift. I don't know.
And that is...
I mean, that's the thing. You're asking what's going to happen in the future. I mean, nobody can tell. Nobody knows.
And how...
You go back like 6 months, we would never have believed this was going to happen. So
crazy.
So it's just, but it's life, isn't it? I mean, people go through shitstorms every day. I mean, we just seem to have a collective one at the moment. But, it is still just life. And you just get on with it and make the best of it, don't you?
Yes.
You can either be a victim and say, okay, everything's terrible and just look down. Or you can look up and say, okay, what can I do? What am I going to do now?
What have I got?
Yeah, I could sit and cry and say, my business is gone to sort of virtually nothing in overnight, but or I just get on with it and do something else and say, what else can I do? How else can I help people? What else can I do?
Just question that just popped into my head about when you said how will we know it's over? I find that in any sort of situation where I'm with people and we're talking, even like with the masks and stuff, you can now go and buy a coffee and you can stand 2 miles away and have one. And
2 miles away?
My friend over there.
Can you imagine?
Everyone hears your conversation. But people are constantly turning to the negative of, I know so-and-so who this happened, that happened, and it's all the negative. So how do we change that? You know, how do we, in an environment like that, how do we become the ones that generate the conversation elsewhere? Because we'll know it's over when every conversation, at every meeting, at everywhere, we're not talking about it.
See, the thing is, it's like, because it is the new normal, and it's slowly, everything's opening up. Well, in fact, it's quite fast again. Everything is opening up quite fast. But it's also the fear of going back to what was. It's the fear of, is this safe? It's the fear of, if I go here, because I really want to go here, I really want to do what I want to do, but I'm scared because what if I pick up something? What if I don't? What, do you know, it's the what ifs. And that is obviously made up. It's in our heads, and it is like an anxiety thought. And it is like, the question is, life is so beautiful, and do we want a life of a prison, which is what we're creating ourselves, or do we want to live life and be free? And if something happens, then we deal with the consequences. But it's almost like we're coming out of a prison and we don't know who to trust or what to trust or anything around us, if we can trust it. So all we can do is trust who we are. And if you're living in fear, you're shutting so many doors to a most beautiful, incredible world. And it's our duty as being on this planet, it's our gift of life to live as beautiful and gifted life as we can. So it's balancing that
like
fear.
You say, do you make the most of your day or not? Are you going to choose to be a victim or get out and empower yourself? Yeah, and like you're saying, for Leigh, when you're in conversations and everyone's very negative, then someone has to be the one to take the stand and say, can we, I'm talking about this all negative stuff. Can we just change the subject? Can we talk about something more positive and just?
I'll always be that person.
Yeah, someone has to step away. So you're going to be a leader or a follower, So it is about just, if it feels wrong, because you get that feeling, don't you? You're in a place and everyone's being negative, and you're thinking, oh, this is just bringing me down.
You're not feeling it,
It is for me, it's a real sinking feeling, and I think, well, I either want to, immediately my thing is get away, let's just hide, run away, I don't want to be here. Or it's okay, or I'm going to leave this in a way that suits me, and if it doesn't go that way, then I will leave, but at least give it the chance to do that.
I'll tell you what, I've just had a blooming good idea. And that is, because I love what we're doing today. I think chatting is just amazing. I do speaking. I speak for groups and stuff like that. Just like either Rotaries or Women's Institutes or different groups, okay? Just doing my talks that I do generally. Normally I go to them, but everything's online at the moment. And they're looking for speakers. I'm wondering, this something like us all together chatting, they would love that as a way of just having a speaker, but then they could ask questions. It's just come to me. Maybe
it's great to get the input and get questions.
I might phone the Women's Institute.
Yeah, because then even if you select a topic, sometimes on the radio, then you have someone call in, and it's quite nice because there might be other people thinking things that is definitely not coming into our brains right now.
Yes.
But they could say, hey, you said that, but what about this? Or what about, and then the thing is, it's quite nice because it sort of challenges the thought process that goes on.
This is brilliant. I can't believe it. I'm phoning Women's Institute right after this, I tell you.
People could, and if people didn't want to be live and ask questions openly, then if they knew what the topic was, they could ask their questions in advance and be anonymous, and you could still address them.
Yeah, in advance or on the day. I'm going to phone them up because I tell you what, I reckon that because they're all doing virtual meetups.
Great.
And they all do those, all the time still, like Rotaries and stuff, because my mum's part of the Rotary, and I know that they're doing it. But I'm just thinking that this is really something that could help people and that we can offer to them. So yeah, I'm going to do that when I get off.
You just always come up with these brilliant plans and ideas.
It's just come to me while we were chatting because I just thought, okay, we're sharing this with anyone that wants to watch us. Brilliant, I love it. But I'm thinking that in a group situation like a Zoom call where you know, you're doing those one-on-ones to these, because people need speakers like at these, and it could be really good because it could be interactive, you know. So I'm going to really think about this, because you can have as many people up to 100 on a pro Zoom thing, so everyone can join, mute everybody apart from us, and then we just talk, and then they can put their hand up or something if they want to ask a question or type.
As well, can't you? Yeah.
Can you type in it on? Can you type messages in on Zoom? Maybe someone watching.
I think you can. There's a reaction.
Yeah, you just go into chat.
So, oh really? Is there a chat?
Yeah, there's chat. Yeah.
Where's chat?
Cool.
Where is that?
So if you look at the bottom where it says mute video participants chat.
You can.
Oh yeah.
Message to just one person or everybody. Or...
See, oh my gosh, this is definitely a way forward. I'm very excited about that. See, the things that we come up with.
Yeah.
Oh, this is great. Oh, this is great. Well, I'm going to do that after this. So yeah. Anyway, back to what we were chatting about, which I can't quite remember. I had some G&T last night, Kate.
It's so evolving and sliding around today, so it's stunning. It's just different, yeah.
Oh, this is it. You get inspired by different ideas, and this is, see, for me, when I do my therapy talks, it's quite pressured, because I try and it's into an environment where I'm focusing on one thing and I want to try and get everything right, and then it's you know, it's the whole thing around it, whereas this is just a very natural flow, and I really like this. It's just talking about life.
Yeah, I think it is helpful to have a topic sometimes, isn't it? But I think, to chat around it, I find that more helpful, where we can just bounce off each other.
Yeah, and inspiring for me anyway.
And it's so interconnected, isn't it? I mean, the things that we do and the things we speak about are all so sort of interconnected. And I think the learnings that I've had from all of us and our different, you know, all of you have given me just different sort of angles and thoughts. You know, sometimes we get so stuck in a particular thought process. Yeah. Whereas when you hear the sort of the different angles that we work from, it's divine, because you're just learning more and gaining more.
Yeah, you're right. I listened to I was watching this guy talking about meditation this morning on YouTube, and I was thinking the same thing about perspective, because we all do the same thing, don't we? Whether you're a hairdresser and you're just letting someone talk, or you're an NLP practitioner, or you're a hypnotherapist, or whatever it is, we're all helping people to see a different perspective on what's happening for them, because the only person that can change is them. So we can't do anything to them. They have to do it for themselves, but we just open up their minds, don't we? And so I was listening to this guy today, and he was talking about a different perspective on meditation, which was brilliant. But the thing that I got from it more than anything was that our moods and our, you know, no matter, he was like a meditator he went on a 3-year meditation retreat. I mean, this guy is serious, sort of Buddhist sort of meditator. And the thing that he said, and it's quite true, is that we all have the same feelings. You know, we've got these waves of feelings that we all feel all the time, all of us, you know, even him, you know, 3 years meditating in a retreat, but he still gets the ups and downs, but he has just a different perspective. He's able to get out further. So instead of sort of looking up at the clouds, he can see the sun, and actually he can be out in space. So he's in space where he can see the waves, like the waves on the ocean, but he's not standing right by the ocean or in the ocean where you're being bashed around. He can see it from space, so you hardly see the waves from there. You don't see anything, do you?
No.
You look down on clouds and things, but in the waves are just, they're hardly noticeable. They're still there. The waves haven't changed, but it's just your vision of them, your perspective of them. I love that analogy of seeing, not being in the ocean and bashed around by it, but by just being in space, that place of space where those thoughts are still happening, but you've just got a different perspective on them, because you're in this place of more space, and where you can be more creative with your thinking, like you're saying, Leigh, about you and your business, how you can be so much more creative when you get out of that mindset of the thinking that's going on in those voices, and step back and relax, and all these creative ideas just seem to come from nowhere, but they're still coming from inside. They're there too. It's just we're too busy looking at the clouds maybe, or right by the waves, rather than looking up and getting up into space, and that's just a perspective.
Yeah, that makes so much sense, because I was just saying to Danielle when we started, before we kind of started talking, was that, I've been pushing down this path, trying to make it work. And I've had it, once they forced me to move out the office so they could rent out a larger area to a corporate. The next time my mum got so ill, so I had to stop, and sort of since each time I peak, something happens. And in December, I paid off all my loans for my business, and I was kind of at ground zero. January, February, good months, and then dush, down to nothing. And it's almost like the sign saying, hold on, you need to do this differently. You've got to do something differently, because this has been 6 years or something that it's been going on for. And so there's no point me carrying a dead horse and walking with this thing, because it's fucking heavy, and it's looking at it from a different perspective. How can I do what I do? How can I, and asking different questions. It's like seeing the wood for the trees. You're there in the forest and it's scary, but you're on the next mountain and you're looking at it, and it's flipping the most beautiful mountain and forest you've ever seen. So,
yeah.
Oh, yeah, sometimes it is, and it is just a little tweak, isn't it? It often isn't a complete change. It's like I often say, when I moved from the UK to France 15 years ago, and that was a big leap, and I made that big leap. But really, all I probably needed to do was make a little adjustment. But like me, I just went, nah, that's just massive change. I love change. Let's go and change everything. It was a stress. Well, God, dear me. But it is just a little change, and the big leaps aren't it. Often it's just like, well, what have I got already? Like you say, you've got this wonderful talent you already have, you're not making use of it, and that's the basis, and maybe that is your baseline that will bring in enough income for you to go and do other stuff with your other talents.
I can still do it at different hours.
Organic.
The best choice.
It can grow.
The best choice is the one that gives you the most choice. So always choose the one that gives you the most options. If you
I love that.
box yourself in, then you're stuck. You can't choose. So the more flexibility you have, always choose flexibility. So pick the choice that gives you the most choices.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah,
I love that too, and that just brings up the freedom with it.
Absolutely. Yeah, it always is. And it's like, well, okay, so you can go with that, can't you? That feeling, or what's the feeling of freedom? What's that to me? And then, okay, and then you can think of all your options and say, well, which one gives me the most freedom? Or the most choices, at least, so that if it doesn't work, some way I can pivot again and choose another choice. But if it's like ties me in, like say big loans or whatever, and I'm stuck in this place, and I don't even know if I'm going to like it, how do I test it? How do I test out that idea and try that? Test it. Like move country. Well, maybe just go.
I've done it twice. I love it.
Just throw everything out of the bath and just, okay, I'm gonna go and do that now, because how do you know that's going to be it?
Yeah,
you don't.
How do you test it? How do you try it? How do you do it without throwing everything out? Because of all the things that you think are going to be good about it, there'll be so many things that are not so good that you don't know what they are until you're there.
The thing is, it's like when you're doing anything with passion and commitment and wholeheartedness, you can't fail. And when and if there's any doubt, you wouldn't do it. So that's
I think the trouble is we don't know what we want until we're there, and then we know what we don't want. It's easy to know what we don't want, isn't it? But it's really hard to know what we want.
Yeah.
So for me, I know, like my example of moving to France, I was in my job. I used to say I can't be me in my job, and I'd been doing this job for 16 years, and I was getting to the stage where it was really making me ill, and I was thinking, I can't be me in my job. Okay, so what I did is I said, well, okay, let's sell the house, let's move country, and I'm going to give up my corporate career and everything. And
I love you.
Go and do something completely new and reinvent ourselves in France. Okay, so that's what we did, and we made it happen because I was passionate about doing something. I didn't know what it would be, but we worked it out as we went along, and so we did that. But when I look back, probably all I needed to do was be more me in my job. Really, I could have done that first and tried that instead of throwing everything out. Why could I not be me in my job? What was I so scared of being myself? So there was all the work I needed to do, which I've done on myself now and freed myself. And now when I look back, I think, well, that was the problem. It wasn't the job that was the problem. It wasn't where I lived. It wasn't everything. It was me. And
but it was part of your journey though, Kate. It was the journey.
I mean, I'm not
I
saying
think
I regret
so.
anything because I've learned so much, but all I'm saying is you don't have to make these big jumps. Sometimes the answer's right there.
Yeah.
Right, by your feet. We often have a joke that we say when I'm looking for a tool, because we do a lot of renovation on our house, and I'm always looking for the tool, and it's always by my feet. I'm looking out there, I'm looking everywhere, I'm looking over there, I'm looking over there. I'm saying, Ron, have you seen the trowel, whatever it is I'm looking for? And 99 times out of 100, it's right by my feet. And often I think that's the same with life. It's right there. The answer's there already. You just can't see it because you're just too focused and blinkered in this one thing.
Yeah.
I love it. Guys, I can't believe it's been an hour.
I know.
I've had the best hour. I love you. It has. It's been so inspiring on many different levels. So everyone, whoever's watching this, I hope you're inspired too, because it was blooming brilliant. I loved everything. So just know, anyone that's watching, that, we are here for you. If you wanted to contact anyone, I'm going to put the links to everyone's website in the description.
I'm still doing it online and things like that. So
yeah, absolutely.
Think about moving elsewhere. So.
Oh, absolutely. Well, the thing is, it's something you can do alongside it anyway. That's what I mean. It's not all or nothing. This is all about, you don't have to do all or nothing. It's all about
my choices, Kate.
It's choice. So contact us so we can talk, chat to you, anything you need. I flipping love you and you and you and you and you and you. And I'm going to sign off with that, really. Be open to change and start with yourself. And then just listen to the voice inside and everything will just flow. It just will. So just heal and release.
And little steps.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, love you all. I'm going to just go off live now. Bye, everyone. Love you. Bye. Right, stop live stream. Done. And I'll just stop recording. Oh, I'm so